Thank you, Sithara ma'am. Good morning, all. It's my great pleasure to introduce Ms. Aprajita Sharma as the speaker of this day. Ms. Aprajita Sharma is a PhD scholar at the Department of Development, Communication and Execution, Lady Irwin College, University of Delhi. Her research focuses on mental health issues of youth and ICT-based solutions, especially mobile phone applications. A gold medalist postgraduate in development communication and extension, she has experience in research, design, program management, documentation, and using technology based solutions for developmental issues. She has worked with organizations in the field of mental health to create awareness, initiate conversations in the community, develop communication tools, train and build capacities for reducing stigma around mental health, early recognition of mental health, and timely intervention. She has interest in designing and developing participatory tools and materials for promoting development. Recently, she has worked on creating online games for issues related to COVID 19, such as work from home stress, cybersecurity, government guidelines and precautions for COVID 19, ways to manage relationships and mental health during pandemic, etc. And eagerly waiting for your talk, Aprajita Sharma, hoping for a wonderful session. Once again, I'll welcome Ms. Aprajita Sharma for her talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Sithara ma'am, and thank you, Sandra, for that wonderful introduction. You've been generous enough to give me that kind of an introduction. But I'd just like to, first of all, introduce myself in a short way again. I am Aprajita, and I am, like you, a student. I'm a PhD research scholar at, as ma'am said, at the Department of Development, Communication and Extension at Lady Irwin College. And honestly, I am also somebody who's done, as said in the introduction as well, I've done my home science and then did my master's in development communication and extension. But mental health is something that came to me from within. My supervisor, I'm doing my PhD under Dr. Aparna Khanna, who's an associate professor at the department. So it was through her, and I had my own experiences with mental health, which drew me to the field, and obviously the need that we have in the world right now related to mental health. So that's how I got into mental health, and that story is for another day. But currently, I'm working for my PhD to understand what are the mental health issues that we, the young people, face, especially the college going students, and how can ICT based solutions like mobile phone applications actually help in addressing those issues. So that's just a brief thing about me. So today, yes, we are here, as we've been introduced, we are here to talk about uh, the pandemic. We've talked about it, I think, since the past 1 year and a few months. All we've talked about is the pandemic, how it's affecting people across the country, across the world, how it is impacting different parts of the body, how it is how it has post COVID symptoms, and how physically one needs to cope up with it. But the thing that sometimes we actually fail to talk about, but I think we internally realize, is how it impacts our mind. We all are living in a situation which none of us have an experience for. The last 1.5 years has been new for everybody, and especially us college students. And I can imagine, because I was a postgraduate or a graduate a few years back, so I know how it feels to be in this uncertain situation where we do not know how exactly the future is going to hold, or how should we move forward, going ahead. So here I'm going to try and talk about certain things that come from my experience of working with different organizations and in the field of mental health, as well as what I feel works for me and for a lot of people, which you, if you practically do, can also help you in understanding what your issues are and how you deal with them. I do have a small presentation that I'd also like to share. By any chance, if you have any issues, you could please write them down in the chat, or any questions if you have. I would love to answer them at the end of it. And before I move on to anything else, I would like to tell you what are we going to briefly cover in this session. We're going to talk about the mental health issues faced during COVID-19. The difference between, we talk a lot about mental well-being. The title of this session is Tips on Maintaining Your Mental Well-being. So but what exactly is well-being? How do I know if I am well or I'm not well? So the difference between the low levels and high levels of well-being, and then on tips on managing issues and tips on maintaining the well-being. The difference between the two, when we'll get to that, I'll surely let you know. But first question that I would want all of you to answer. We've all gone through the pandemic. We all feel that there has been some form of stress, some form of anxiety due to a lot of issues that happen around us. But what, according to you, are some of the mental health issues that you have faced during the pandemic? Anybody, if you want, you can write it in the chat, or if you want, you can unmute your mic and speak, whatever you're comfortable with. And again, this is a safe space. Anything that you'd want to share, you can. Please go ahead. Anybody. Anybody who has any kind of, so you can, I can also start with one, that I have always during this time had some form of anxiety or some form of stress related to my health and my family's health. I've always felt, whether I'll be able to be safe from the virus, or if is my family going to be safe from the virus. So if anybody also has some ideas in their mind, they could unmute their mic or probably just write it in the chat, because this is going to be interactive session, going to be a two-way communication for all of us. Worries about the future studies. Yes, that's a definite yes, because we are in a time when we do not know, especially the people who are actually finishing their undergraduate or their postgraduate programs, the final year students, as to how to go ahead, be it jobs, be it higher education, future concerns. Somebody says panic attacks. So panic could be also due to multiple reasons. It could be due to personal reasons, or it could be due to professional reasons, right? Be it if somebody who has suffered from COVID, the kind of anxiety or the kind of stress they feel vis-a-vis somebody who is seeing it around them as a society. If I see that there are people who are suffering from an issue, it will affect me as well. So keeping all these things in mind, here are some 15 issues that I have identified, and you can please add on to them. So, first is uncertainty about the work and its progress, whether I am working up to the mark or not, whether my work is progressing in the right manner. I do not have access to practical or hands-on training, because come what we say, our institutions have helped us a lot. They've tried to get everything from that offline teaching mode to online teaching mode, but yet the practical experience that we need in the communities, or whatever our field is in the the on-ground experience somewhere lacks. So uncertainty about work, then delay in research work deadlines and submissions, difficulty in accessing the sample when you are trying to do research. You cannot go physically and have a direct communication with them. Insecurities related to job and finances, how my future is going to be, whether I will land up with the job or not. And then fear and future apprehensions related to life as a whole, whether we are going to get out of this situation or not, whether things will one day go back to normal or not. Then challenges due to learning new technologies. We've all learned Google Meet, Zoom, Google Classroom, or different kinds of softwares that we are using for online teaching, as well as for other ways of online communicating with others. Then increased time on digital screen. Example, one of the examples is right now, everything that we do, every talk, every webinar, seminars have now turned into webinars. Our classes are online, and more than that, our leisure time is also online, because we are not able to go out and actually meet our family and friends. So whatever happens through this online world. There is disruption at work life balance due to study from home. We'll get to that as well. Lack of space and for concentrating and working, because everybody is at home. So the space that you would have in a general day to day time is not there right now. Loneliness and social isolation because of staying at home. Earlier, probably you used to go out with your friends, and for a cup of coffee, or for just some snacks, and enjoying with them, or probably go out with your cousins or relatives. But now, due to the lockdown, or due to the pandemic restrictions, that's not possible. With that very important overload of information and misinformation, you open your social media and the kind of information you see, a, there is a lot of it, and b, you don't even know whether it is right or wrong. The credibility of the information, which source is it coming from, why is it being told to you? So these questions always bog somebody's minds, and if these are not bogging your mind, then you probably don't even know what kind of information you are consuming, whether that information is correct, whether that information is just somebody writing WhatsApp forward and sending it to you, and you forward it again without even cross checking it. So that then anxiety about the health of oneself and family and friends. This also includes in today's times we've lost a lot of our closed ones, be it family, be it friends, or even acquaintances that we've known, or sometimes as a society when we don't know other people, but just to see how others are suffering because of that. So the anxiety about that, then stress in relationships, because of communicating too much because we all are under the same roof, or sometimes communicating not at all because we are under the same roof. Because that happens there are times when you want to sit with the family and talk a lot, and sometimes it becomes an overload for some people, and whereas sometimes you're in the same house and won't talk for the whole day. So those kind of extremities can also cause stress in relationships. Boredom and fatigue, that's something that I feel like it does not even need an explanation. And last but not the least, languishing. Languishing is a term that New York Times also quoted a few days back, that talks about the middle phase, something between flourishing and between depression. So it's not that you have a mental illness, and it's also not that you are at the best that you could be mentally. The phase in between, where you are actually having an issue where you just can't concentrate, where you feel that you just can't function. You've opened your laptop, but I don't know how to work forward. It's like as if I've reached a saturation. That kind of a feeling is what languishing is. So, and it's been called the blah feeling, or the feeling of COVID-19, because a lot of people have come up, and I've actually talked to therapists and psychologists saying that they have this feeling where they just don't know what to do and just not able to concentrate or work. So these are some of the 15 problems that I have, tried to put together. So now what I would like you to do is, in the chat box, just write a score out of 15. How many, if if I've faced 10 of these problems, my score is 10 on 15. So what is your score? And be honest about it. All of us have gone through this. All of us, probably some of us could score 15 on 15, some of us could score just 5 or probably 4 on 15. So there's no competition here, but it's for your own self to understand where do you lie on when it comes to the issues that you have faced during the pandemic. So just count and put it in the chat box. What score would you give yourself? Okay, somebody says 8. 8 on 15, we consider it moderate. Anything between 1 to 5 is mild. Anything between 6 to 10 is moderate. And 11 to 15 is something that we really, really need to work upon. 8, 10, 9, again 9, 11, 8, 9, 9. So, as I can see, most of us are between the range of 8 to 11, which is between the moderate to, early severe range. So, just by, looking at this, you can understand the kind of impact the pandemic has had on you, because of, the various issues, and, the various ways it is affecting you. So now, before we move on to understanding on how to tackle these issues, I'd just like to give you another, glimpse of what is the difference, as I talked about earlier, that what is this low, when do you feel low, and what are some of the signs of high levels of mental and emotional well-being. So if I do a comparative analysis here, a high level of sorry, that's my clock. A person with high levels of emotional well-being, a person, how do you characterize a person who's going towards self-actualization, or somebody who's going towards being a person who's very well emotionally and mentally, that person will be somebody who's self-aware and accepts themselves for who they are and are proud about it. Somebody who's motivated to work, motivated to enjoy, and motivated in life to do anything. Then is emotional regulation. They might have an emotional breakout once, or sometimes, if it's a grief situation, but generally they regulate their emotions. They know how to tackle their emotions, and they know how to take care of themselves. Next is mastery of the environment. They know how to handle their situations. They know how to handle their environment and still make peace with it, whatever is happening around them. Then they have a positive self esteem. They do not ridicule themselves. They think good and probably high of themselves, so that they feel confident and have a great self concept. Then a sense of belonging. They connect with others. They have a sense of belonging towards living and non living things. Then positive outlook, whatever the situation might be, yet being optimistic, yet having a positive outlook that yes, something good is going to come out of it, or this is going to lead to a time which is going to be good. This shall too pass. So that kind of a positive outlook. Then there is a sense of purpose. They know that their life, or probably each day has a purpose. That purpose could also be just to enjoy yourself for today. It does not always have to be a work related commitment or a work related purpose. It can also be a purpose to enjoy. It can also be a purpose to spend time with your family, but they have a sense of purpose to do something. Then is the personal growth, something that they always want to grow emotionally, mentally, physically. They have perspective taking. They can look at a situation from different sides. For example, even the COVID-19 situation, if I may take, that situation is, at this step, it is something that is the worst that could happen to the world right now. If I think like that, nothing worse could have happened to the world. But sometimes, to have that perspective now, that even we've gone through the second wave, and a really bad one at that, still things are getting better. There are new technologies coming in, there are new medicines coming in. So there is the other flip side to it as well, that yes, things are getting better. So to able to see the flip side in a grief situation is what perspective taking is. And then flexibility of response, changing yourself according to the situation. These are some aspects of high levels of emotional well-being. A person who has more of these characteristics is probably more emotionally well. Whereas low levels of emotional well-being, which is something that actually a lot of people are going through these days, is avoidance and denial. Whenever they have a disturbing thought, or whenever they have a stressful thought, they want to avoid it, and they want to deny, okay, I'm not having a thought like that. Or just avoid it, distract yourself with some activity, and then forget about it. Not even go and see, why did I get that thought? Why was it that I was feeling that way? So this kind of avoidance and denial to the situation, or probably avoiding and denying that there's nothing like COVID that exists. I know some of people who are trying to even avoid the whole situation. So such kind of avoidance and denial is a characteristic of low level of emotional well-being. Poor concentration, that is again self-explanatory. Poor appetite or extreme weight loss happening during this time. Sleeplessness, insomnia, sleeping for 1 or 2 hours during the night, or also sleeping at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning. So that kind of routine, if a person has. Then extreme fatigue and headache. This is one of the characteristic symptoms, sorry, of having stress in your body, when actually you have pains, and you feel fatigued, where even if you haven't done anything physically to make you feel like that. Then restlessness, sorry, that the feeling of being not being able to do anything, and still feeling confined in a position, and feeling really restless. So that's what restlessness is all about. Poor emotional control, right opposite of emotional regulation that we've talked about. Being irritable, getting offended at the smallest of things, which you actually were never able, were not getting offended by earlier. And feelings of uselessness. I can't do anything. I will not be able to do this task. I am useless. Why am I even doing this? So these kinds of thoughts, when they start coming to your head. So all these thoughts and all these things are characteristics or signs of low levels of emotional well-being. So though I am talking, while I am describing all these things, I think somewhere, if you're listening to it, you'll understand that you might fall into one of these two categories or somewhere in the middle. So now what we are trying to do is talk about two things which actually this whole session is based upon. One is when I am having stress and anxiety, or depression, or any other kind of mental health issue, not even an illness, but if I'm having a issue, I'm not able to concentrate, I'm not able to perform, the feeling of languishing that I talked about, somewhere where I can't concentrate or I'm not able to function. So what is it that I do at that time? And there are certain things that you can do to increase your well-being. So from moving to the low levels to the high levels, these are these are two categories that I'm going to talk about in today's session. And it was very important to first lay the foundation so that we all come onto the same page to understand and probably empathize with what different kinds of problems all of us are facing, and what high level and low level of emotional well-being actually means. So, first, we are going to talk about when you are facing a problem, what are some of the tips that could help you. Again, these tips, as I have earlier said, these come from experience that I have had working with different organizations, as well as some of the things that have actually worked for myself. And thirdly, some things that are actually scientifically given to people, which can help them to cope up with their day to day stresses. So, first, now this is very interesting, and I think this is something that has been there since we have been children. Since we were in school, we used to have something what you call as a timetable, right, or a schedule of activities. That okay, the first period is going to be class period, the second period is going to be English, third is going to be maths, fourth is going to be science, then there is going to be a recess, then we will have history, geography, and so on and so forth. And there used to be a games period also somewhere in between. There used to be an art period somewhere, a dance period somewhere. So we actually have been, as a culture, accustomed to having timetables since when we were in school. And similarly, when you move to college, you also have a timetable, that you have a class at this time. You probably have, let's say, dedicated hours for certain events. If you're part of certain societies, you have certain time for that. So why not actually have these plans for your daily life? A lot of people have said have a timetable, but people don't follow it. Or I can't follow a timetable every day of my life. But sometimes it is very important, and especially a time like this. So all you need to do is have a day to day plan. Even when you talk about doing assignments, or when you get a swamp of assignments, let's say 10 assignments or 8 assignments at a time, and you are trying to do it and you're not feeling well, or you're say you're not able to perform function properly to do that, it is always better to schedule your activities. Make a list of all the things that you're supposed to do. Note the amount of time that you will take to do each activity, and I'm telling you, this works a lot. If you actually plan and follow this, this helps a lot in trying to have a balance between your activities, that are your work related activities, and your self care activities, that are activities that you do for your own leisure, or for caring for your own self. Then once you've noted the amount of time that each activity will take, prioritize them based on the deadline, your interest, and the amount of time it will take. Now, for example, I have to submit an assignment on Monday, right? I have 1.5 nowadays left to do it. Vis-a-vis, there is an assignment that is to be done on Friday. It is but obvious that I will first do the assignment that is supposed to be done on Monday, and then do the one that is supposed to be done on Friday. But if I feel that there are some things, the assignment gets over, or the Monday assignment only takes 2 hours. Now once that is over, give your sense of leisure time, but also break down that Friday assignment into smaller tasks, so that you can complete it by Friday, and not on Thursday have all your time assigned to that one particular assignment that you need to submit the next day. So breaking down your tasks and breaking it down throughout the week will probably help you more. Once you've done that, plan them for each day of the week. that I'm going to get up at this time, because in the pandemic we've seen how people have had all kinds of erratic routines, sleeping late, getting up early, and sleeping late, getting up late, and then also not being able to perform the deadlines or tasks they've for themselves. So once you've planned them for each day, have a to-do list for every day. Sometimes that to do, and again, this is not only work related, so I have shared this weekly activity schedule. This is taken from the internet, so I think it's going to be accessible to most of you as well. And then make a list of activities. Now the list of activities that you see are not only my work related activities. These are also activities that are for my leisure, like painting a art design, a mandala design, talking to a friend, watching a movie, spending time with my family. These are all my leisure activities, whereas preparing for the workshop, reading literature for my research, writing an assignment, revising for exams, that's my work related things. So when I know all the things that I have to do, I'll be able to put them in a sequential order so that there is a balance. I have to focus on my work as well as do self care activities. So scheduling your activities is one of the most important things to help yourself manage your situation, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Next is indulge in positive self talk. What happens is, so I hope all of you know, self talk is basically what and how we talk to ourselves. All of us probably know what intrapersonal communication is, but if we don't, so intrapersonal communication is the communication that we have with our own self. So that intra communication that happens generally, and sometimes when we are in a crisis, turns out to be negative. You start saying things to your own self that are actually ridiculing yourself. Some statements could be, I am useless, or I know I will not be able to do this task. I don't even know why have I started this course. I don't think I'll be able to complete these assignments, and much more. And these are some college or work related things. A lot of them could be personal related as well. So what happens is, these thoughts, if you start telling them to yourself again and again and again, sometimes consciously and sometimes even subconsciously, that these are in your mind and you're actually again and again and again coming in contact with these thoughts, what happens is it starts making producing a negative feeling and negative emotions in your body. It can make you feel stressed, or it can make you feel having a low self esteem or having a low self concept about yourself. So uh, what can you do to handle such thoughts? One of the simplest ways is, make a list of the negative thoughts that you have. Take a diary, put it into half, put all the negative thoughts exactly word to word that are coming into your mind, that like I've given an example here: I will not be able to complete this task, I just cannot do it. Write that line as it is. Keep writing whatever thoughts are coming into your head as they are. Reread them, as in when you have then you reread them. Once you reread them on the right side, try and just flip them into the positive side. So for example, I will not be able to complete this task, I just cannot do it, becomes, I am competent and capable of doing this task, I will do it. I can do it, I will do it. So you start converting each negative thought that is into your head to a positive thought. So once you start doing that, you yourself, and please try it out, once you have this, you yourself will start feeling better about yourself. So next time when you have the same thought coming in, all you have to do is open that diary of yours and start reading the right column. If you have some other thoughts coming in, open another page, make it into half, start writing your negative thoughts on one side, and start converting them into positive thoughts. Change the words. Change negative words to positive word. Cannot becomes can. Will not becomes will. So all these words need to turn into positive words. So also, one of the other things in indulging positive self-talk, one was when you have a negative thought. Second is, what you can also do, you can write a list of good words or phrases that you associate yourselves with. This is something that helped me when I was feeling, kind of confused as to even if I'm capable of undertaking a particular task. So all I could do was write 10 adjectives for myself that I feel are positive and good, that I associate with myself. So I wrote those 10 words, and believe it or not, at the end of it, I thought, if I think all these things about myself, that means I somewhere have that confidence to take up that task and complete it. And ultimately, I did it, and I was able to complete my task. So indulging in this positive self-talk is also extremely important to make yourself feel good about yourself, and move forward in the right direction. Next is deep breathing. Deep breathing is something that I feel a lot of you would know. And, the simplest thing about how to calm down my anxiety on Google is going to give you deep breathing. It is very important. And I would suggest that not only when you feel some kind of panic, some kind of nervousness, some kind of anxiety, stress, or, some kind of intruding thoughts coming into your mind, not just to use it only at that time, but also use it when every each day of your life. So all you need to do is you have to concentrate on your breathing. When you inhale from your nose, so just feel that breath actually going into your nose, down into your lungs, and then to each part of your body. Just close your eyes and actually go through that process one by one. Take time, about say 15-20 minutes every morning, to just do this exercise, to take in and follow your breath throughout your body, and then it coming out through your nose. One of the most important techniques that are shared with people, it's called the 478 technique, which basically means that you inhale for 4 seconds, that you count 4 seconds and you inhale. You keep inhaling for 4 seconds, then you hold your breath for 7 seconds. So you count till seven and keep holding your breath, and then you take 8 seconds to exhale from your mouth. So this kind of a breathing activity, 478 technique, if you perform for 15 to 20 minutes each day, will obviously make you more calmer and will increase your concentration. But when you're feeling, actually you're feeling panic, or you're feeling anxious, this really helps you to calm yourself down. Because till the time, one thing that we all should understand is, we won't be able to rationally understand or see anything till the time we are not calm. Because what happens is, how this thing works is, even if the most bizarre or the most intruding stressful thought comes into my mind, I will actually start getting bothered about it and start having physical symptoms. So trembling of hands, your heartbeat going really fast, sweating, having sweaty hands, and having digestive issues. So all these are physical symptoms of anxiety. So when you actually have such symptoms, till the time you don't let these physical symptoms subside, you actually cannot work on making your anxiety better. So anxiety ki wo jo thought hai, like the thought that has come for anxiety has come and also has gone, but those physical symptoms still remain. That heart palpitations, those shaking hands, that nervousness still remains. So to calm those down, before you I can actually think about what my thought was and how do I deal with that situation, is very important. So therefore this helps in calming down your physical symptoms, and also making your mind stronger for concentrating better. So this is that. And please, I'd request you, if you have any questions whatsoever regarding anything, please put it in the chat box so that we could take it up after the presentation gets over. And if you have any questions which I can take in the middle, I'm looking at them, so I can also do that. Next is journaling. This is something that, as a teenager, I remember that a lot of us really like to do. Having a journal, writing down my thoughts, and, what have I done during the day, and what I want to, not tell anybody, but are just the secrets between me and my diary. So actually, even thinking about, anxiety, stress, or any other kind of mental health issue, this really works. Because what happens is, and I have heard a lot of people, when I'm talked to, and that's what my experience is, they feel that sometimes sharing with others, although is very important, but they feel that I do not know how they are going to react, whether they are going to listen to me properly or not, and whether they're going to make fun of me. So when you have such thoughts, it's important to talk to other people also, but sometimes it helps if you vent your feelings out to a diary. What you've done is, you actually ultimately just want to speak and share what you have in your heart. So that doing to a diary really helps. And how it helps is that not only it makes you feel lighter, it also helps us to go back and introspect on our problems. So if I was 14 and I felt that probably this, the science exam that I had to give, or when I was in class 12th and I think about, oh my god, the board exam that is coming is probably the most important activity of my life. And I don't know, if this doesn't happen, my life is going to shatter, and all those thoughts that might come to my mind. When I go back, I actually see how trivial those thoughts were. In the sense, at that time they were the most important things in my mind, but right now if I look back, it was, I could deal with it. If I dealt with it then, I can deal with it now as well. I'm the same person, but now with more experience, and I'm more stronger. So if I was able to tackle those problems at that time, I was able to perform, I was able to do things at that time, I can also do them now. So that linkage of older problems to the newer problems also helps. So journaling might also helps there. And one of the most important things that comes with journaling is thought noting. So thought noting is that we just talked about when we were talking about positive self talk. This is also something very similar to that, but slightly different. So what happens is, in your diary, if you're feeling very anxious, and please do this, this really helps. Write all your disturbing thoughts again, as you were doing in that half page thing. So on the left side, so here on the full page, just keep writing your disturbing thoughts. Close the diary, keep it away. Now when you feel calmer, or when you feel that okay, now you are in the space that you will be able to understand what your situation is, open that diary again and read what you wrote at that time. Once you read them, analyze it. Where did that thought come from? Ask yourself, what is even the validity of that particular thought. For example, I'll give you example. I say, I am useless, I cannot perform in this exam. Now when I wrote that, why did I feel that? What is the proof? Have I had a history of not performing in my exams? Or what is it that supports? It's like a debate for and against. So you see, what evidence do you have that supports that thought, and what evidence do you have that is against the thought, and try finding more evidences that are against the thought. Because what happens is, as we talked about the negative self talk, it is sometimes very important to give ourselves that evidence or that proof, to say that our thought is actually in a way stemming from anxiety, or stemming from stress that we have from the situation. And it's better to give yourself proof for that. So once you've given yourself proof and you feel okay, probably I don't have a lot of proof for the for motion against, okay, I have studied earlier, I have cleared my exams, and I will be able to do that again as well. So giving yourself proof for that will help you look at other ways, other probable ways of looking at the situation. Probably it was just the moment of time, probably I did not get my notes, so that's why I was really freaked out, or that's why I was feeling very anxious. So once you have actually been able to see the other side of the situation, is when you start again that negative and positive thing that we were doing, you can start doing that again. So sometimes if that negative and positive does not go hand in hand, you can use this particular strategy to also demarcate and understand where your thought came from and how to make it more positive. I'll just see, I have a few questions. uh, the voice is okay, sorry. I will try and speak more loudly, if that will work. Then is this is the one of the most important things that I have done during COVID-19 pandemic, and actually before that as well. So let's say, I think most of you would have would know what a research master's research dissertation is, or probably even at the undergraduate level, let's say your final assignment that you need to submit, or anything that is one of the most mammoth, or the most Herculean tasks that you can see or think about. And if I tell you, okay, just complete your dissertation, it's something that like, okay, how do I do that? I You can't just tell me to complete your dissertation, right? We have a procedure to go it. We have we start reviewing the literature, we have a research proposal, then we do the, we make the research design, and then we subsequently collect data. After going through the ethical committees, we collect the data, then we analyze the data, then we write our findings and discussions, interpret the data, and after the findings discussions have been written, we write a summary. So like, it's a whole process, and ultimately you publish your dissertation. It is not one task. If you see, not, every one task is actually like our dissertation divided into subtasks or mini tasks, if I may say. So in life situations also this thing applies. So every big task that you feel is coming onto you, you feel that this is overwhelming you, or this is something that seems to be a huge task for you, or this can happen when you are procrastinating, you are trying to delay your tasks, or you're unable to meet your deadlines, probably because of some personal problem that you have, or when you feel the task is very difficult, very complicated assignment, or it's very lengthy. Then use this strategy. What you do is, you write the task at the top, and then divide them into small mini tasks, as smallest you could break that task. Even writing an assignment as small as buying paper, buying a pen, or taking paper and pen out, as small as you can divide that assignment into, divide that task. It can turn out to be 5 mini tasks, it can turn out to be 20 mini tasks. That's not a problem. But divide it and break down your task. Now what you do is, once you've broken it down into many tasks, uh, try and start noting down the time that each will take, or try and say, okay, task number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is what I'm going to do today only. My deadline is from today till 6 days, so I'm going to do these 5 to 6 tasks today, right? Then 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 is something I'm going to do the next day. 12, 13, 14 the next day, and following 2 days before my deadline, I am going to be ready. Right now, this, as you can, if you remember the activity scheduling thing, these two tasks really go hand in hand. So now when you've divided them, put these into a logical order. Obviously, that first I'll do this, second, it has to be in a proper order, and then you decide a time plan and an action plan, what you'll give to these. What happens is that Herculean and that big huge task, that complicated task, actually becomes easy and simple for you, just because you are trying to perform those mini tasks. You actually forget that, okay, this is my overall task, these are my small tasks that I need to complete, and once I do them, ultimately your huge task also gets done. So complete each subtask to complete the overall task before your deadline. This helps a lot, especially when you have a lot of work and you feel overwhelmed by it. And also, this helps you to plan yourself better. Plan is such a key word for life, especially that we have in terms of the time that we are in, because everything is virtual and you do not have a direct communication. So planning is really important in such a time. Uh, then, very important, which I would like to come to, and this is obviously because I've had my master's dissertation as well as my, my PhD research is also on this topic, which is the use of mobile phone applications and how it addresses the mental health problems of people, especially young people. So, a mobile phone app, why does it help? It is something that is there in your phones. Most of us own a phones here, or most of us have an access to a phone that is there in the family, right? Some of these apps do not even need internet to they just need internet to download, but for the app to actually function, it does not need internet. So some of these apps are also like that, which need internet, some don't, but it is important that it's accessible. Some of these are free and are very effective, so they are also affordable. So and also, because sometimes accessing mental health services like that of a mental health professional, like a psychiatrist, psychologist, or a counselor or a therapist, is not that easy all the time. So to bridge that gap, these technological advancements help a lot. So they not only they provide you information, about what, different mental health issues are, or what depression is, what anxiety is, what OCD is. They provide you information on these. They also provide you assessments where score your, you answer a few questions and you get a scoring, and in which range of that illness do you lie. You also get strategies for self help, as to what are the things that, some of them I've already shared with you in this session. So you also get those self help strategies according to your score in those apps. And then you also get a database for counselors, psychologists, and psychiatrists in and around your area, whom you can access and uh, get professional help from. And also there are some specific tools that they have. So there's something what you call as mood monitoring. So mood monitoring is something you track your mood. In the morning you are feeling angry, now you're feeling sad, now you're feeling happy, now you're feeling excited. So it's a mood monitoring thing, so you understand how did you feel throughout the day, and you understand the problem behind it. So if I feel that I'm angry at these 4 points in a day, so what was it that I was doing that was making me angry? Was it myself, was it around me? So that is the whole concept of mood monitoring. But so these apps also provide you specific tools for monitoring your moods, monitoring your emotions, monitoring your signs for mental health issues. So that's why, and they give you a progress that how are you progressing, are you feeling better, or how better are you from the last day. So all these things can help. So some examples include Calm, Mindhouse HQ, Your Dose, WhatsApp, Seven Cups, Headspace. These are some of the apps that I have used, and these are some of the apps that I feel are have helped me. But it's not just restricted to these. There are many more applications that can be used, and you are free to actually go and explore. All I would say is use an app that you feel helps you, and just or you can also check the reviews in your app store or your play store as to how it helped the others, so that you can make a judicious choice of whether you want to use that app or not. And last but not the least, when you are feeling low, sad, what happens is sometimes you're not in the frame of mind to actually analyze your thoughts, or as I said, to actually get in touch with your thoughts and understand why you're feeling that and do that analysis. So at that time there are certain other forms of therapy that might make you feel good, might make you feel lighter, and also sometimes act as distraction activities. So the only thing that we need to remember for these is that these might help you feel better in the long run, and might also distract you for a short period of time. But it is important to come back to what you were what your thoughts were, and analyze them so as to solve the root problem. So some of these include dance, art, listening to music, walk and talk. So that's something that you walk in a natural habitat, and if sometimes you have a family or a friend with you, talking to them while walking, that's a strategy that helps a lot. Sing, playing instruments, culinary art, which is cooking, laughter. Laughter therapy is one of the most the happy therapies, as they say. There are also online groups for laughter therapies, so you could also join them to just laugh with everybody and feel better. And any other positive ways or activities that you feel can help you distract. Why I wrote that positive word is very important, because when it comes to mental health, there are a lot of negative ways of coping as well. And I just like to hint them out here, because when you feel low, or when you feel depressed, anxious, or stressed, either you can move on to all these strategies that I've talked about, or you could also go into some negative forms of coping, which include self harm, substance abuse, which is drug, alcohol, tobacco, and other forms of substances. So it is very important to not let yourself get into those negative forms of coping. Vis-a-vis, it is important because those actually attribute to more mental health issues. At that time it may make you feel that, okay, I'm feeling better, it's making me feel calmer, but actually you are getting into another cycle of mental health issues, which is addiction and self harm, which actually will cause you more harm in the long run. So it's better to restrict yourselves to positive ways of coping, And that is why whatever we've discussed till now, and these are some of the ways of positively tackling your mental health issues. I know there are some questions coming in. What I'll do is, once I finish this last segment of my presentation, we'll just get to the questions. One second. Yeah. Last, and this is the briefest section, which is the tips to maintain mental well being. Uh, so what happens is, some of the most important things which are lifestyle changes, and I know most of you will be like, we've heard them 100 times, but it's very important to understand the impact of these things. Having adequate rest and sleep, nutrition and balanced food, indulging in yoga, pranayam, reducing your time on digital screens, because I know you cannot avoid it completely, but reducing the time is of utmost importance. If you have to work for your online classes, or for your projects or your assignments on the digital screen, find leisure time on other sources. Play board games with your family. Try and write something. Try and read a book, something that does not involve your phone, your laptop, or the TV, or any other digital screen. Spend time with nature. I know you cannot go out per se because of the lockdown, but probably your veranda, your balcony, or just sitting near a window or a door. That would also help. Exercise and walk regularly, be it even inside your house. Access credible and reliable resources. So, coming from a development communication background, we all, I mean, at least I can vouch for it, that media literacy is very important. Understanding where is the information coming to you from, how important it is, and why is somebody telling you the thing that they are telling you is very important. If a particular news channel is telling me something vis-a-vis another news channel is telling me something else, I need to understand which might be more closer to the reality and which might not. So accessing credible and reliable resources, especially when you talk about COVID-19, government resources are the most reliable when it comes to understanding the guidelines and the precautions that one needs to take. So just focus on and rely on those resources, like the MyGov Corona Hub page, even on Facebook and Instagram. So accessing those resources, and pursue hobbies, which we've also talked about, which can also be forms of therapy when you're feeling low. And generally also in life, always have some hobby that you perform every day. Even when you feel your work is overburdening, take some time off and pursue a hobby. Then the work life balance. Have a routine, clear designated time for work. We've talked about determine your priorities, plan accordingly, and have realistic timelines. You won't be able to complete an assignment in 1 hour if it demands 7 hours of your time. So time, plan realistically and then make your schedules. Don't overcompensate. Don't feel that you can just finish it. Give yourself extra time. Reduce your access to work files and emails unless it's urgent, and you determine what is urgent. If it needs to be done urgently, then do it. If it can be passed on till the next day, then complete it the next day. Okay, so have a dedicated area at your workplace. So when you are studying, don't when you have your online class or when you're doing your assignments, don't do it on your bed. Even if you don't have access to a lot of space, a small corner in a room will also do. But have that work, from your college to your home, like the commute that you used to have that commute even in your house. Your leisure area, which might be a bed where you sit and then you relax, that and your workspace, which is where your laptop and your table will be, cannot be the same place. And change your clothes each day. I know when some people just get up and get to work and then keep working the whole day and doing their leisure activity and then sleep again. No, have a routine, get up, freshen up yourself, change your clothes, so that you feel that you've actually gone to college and now are coming back. So that physical difference needs to be there. Take adequate time out for yourself each day. Me time is important. And take out time each day for your friends and family, fun and relaxation activities, reflecting and analyzing what you've done throughout the day, physical exercise, any hobby, and most importantly, yourself. Your body gives you signs. Like if you have severe backache, you have neck ache, you have headache, or you have you're feeling nervous, or you're feeling anxious, your body is actually giving you signs that you're being stressed or there is some issue. So do not just neglect those signs, understand them and act on them, so that it's important to maintain your work life balance. Always have, this is very important again, having a social support. Social support is when I'm in a crisis, all these things are self determined, but there must be one or two people that I can reach out to in case I have a problem. And these people can be different for different situations. If I have a problem with my exam fear or exam stress, I might reach out to somebody. If there has been a health issue or unfortunately a death of a loved one, I might have somebody else I reach out to. And these people actually exist around you. These can be your friends, your family, your cousins, your teachers, your social media acquaintances, religious groups, spiritual groups, whatever you believe in. But having that group to vent your heart out is always important. That trust needs to be there with at least one. I'm not saying there need to be 20 people for you to do so, but at least one, two to three people at least need to be there with whom you can actually share your heart. This is again one of the most important things, that is gratitude. Gratitude, in the simplest forms, is actually just being thankful and just being grateful. Grateful, that's where it comes from, the word gratitude. Being thanking somebody, and most importantly yourself, for each day, for being the way you are, and for others to actually helping and doing something for you. So even if it's your mother giving you food, or your father helping you with household chores, or your sibling helping you with some work, or your friends who are calling in to talk to you, or your teachers who are helping you with your assignment, or if it's anybody else, probably just a stranger on the road who helped you with the way, saying thank you and acknowledging their help is really important. This is a life skill that all of us need to understand. This is a value which will only help us become more accepting and appreciative of life, of our own life. And for yourself, do one thing, wo jo, the journal and the diary that we are making, make another page of gratitude where every day you try and write 5 to 7 things that you're actually thankful for, or 5 or 7 things good that happened to you on that day. I assure you, when you're having a bad day, reading those things is actually going to help yourself feel better as to what you've done, and will probably help you look at things that are not so good from a more positive angle. So there are things that you are grateful for even in such times. So make a list, put them down, and actually put them down on a diary, so that it's important for you to read them and tell your own self that no, things are not that bad. There are ways I can cope up, and there are ways that are there for me to look forward to. So, last but not the least, we've gone through and I've tried to cover a lot of different aspects in this session of ours. But after you've heard all of these different strategies that can help, have your own plan of action. You might take up dance with scheduling activities, with positive self talk, and probably gratitude. So, make your own things what work for you, and depending upon your situation, problem, or issue, and yourself. So for some people something work, for some people something else might work. So try different things and see what works for you, and have your own plan of action. And in case, and this is very important, and this is for everybody who's listening, that in case you feel that problem is persisting and is affecting of your everyday life, consult a mental health professional. Seeking professional help is the most important thing, and the best that can be done, and should be done really early. Because if you are facing something that's being long and that's affecting you every day, it needs intervention, and that can only be done through a professional. So I would just encourage you and motivate you that if you are feeling anything like that, there is no stigma or shame around it, but please seek professional help around your area, or even now through online telecommunication. And by any chance, if anybody needs the resources, here am I. Thank you so much. That's my email ID, and you can surely drop in an email, and I would be able to connect you or help you as much as I can through other resources. There are publicly available resources, and I think I would be able to connect you with them, if not anything else. So thank you so much, and I hope we have time for Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Aprajita. That was a wonderful session. Definitely, we have lot of queries in the chat box. Can you just go through them? I think
Yes, ma'am, I'll do
there are
that.
a lot.
Yeah. So I'll go one by one through all. So the first we have is, does noise irritability have a cure? Is it related to mental health? Uh, um, so I think noise irritability can be something that's related to, if I may interpret it, it's something that you feel irritated with loud noises. Is that what we mean? If you can also unmute your mic. Yes, it does, it can be related to mental health for sure. But again, it is something that, because it can be something that's related to physical health as well, it is important to actually get professional help, or a professional guidance for that. So probably talking to or even a general physician in this manner would be better, because yes, it might have relations with some mental health issues, which talk about low levels of emotional well-being like depression or other things like that. So but it's important to first talk to a general physician. Then we have, sometimes reading the past thoughts written in the diary just brings back the same old emotion as it is, and it grasps us. Why? So what happens is that, again, this is my understanding, when you're actually rereading those thoughts, there are times when you might feel that the same emotion is coming back, but it's important for you to remember that you overcame that emotion the first time those thoughts were coming to you, and therefore you will be able to overcome it now as well. The reason why these emotions come is because, what happens in our mind is, a thought comes, the thought actually evokes an emotion. So for example, if I feel that I am incompetent to do any task, I will feel sad. That's so the thought is, I feel incompetent, I am feeling sad or probably angry at my own self, and that emotion will have actions, and that's what we call behavior. So from thought to emotions to behavior, so this linkage will always be with any thought that we have, and that's true for anything and everything. So if I have a thought that is good, I will feel happy about it and probably treat myself with good food. So that's my behavior or the action that will lead to it. So that is the relation between these three things. The thing is to break that negative cycle. So from thought to not let it become an emotion is what the strategies that we've talked about actually do. So when I have a thought, how I'm going to break it is what these strategies will help you to do. Next, sorry. How can we overcome the problem of not being able to prioritize the tasks given to us? That is when we get so confused and we feel that all are kind of equally important. The thing is here, Abhinami, here you have to prioritize them on some, get a criteria. If you are not able to understand as to how you can prioritize them according to, let's say, your deadline. Pick out a criteria. The criteria can be the deadline. The criteria can be, the level of, the amount of time it requires. So probably there's something that requires 4 hours, and today you only have 1 hour, you won't be able to complete that, so the priority decreases. Also, the priority can be who's giving you the task, or the priority can be the urgency of the task. So choose a particular criteria for the tasks that are given to you. Generally, when it comes to assignments, you have a deadline. So if the tasks are deadline based, and if you have a deadline, you will be able to prioritize them. If the deadline is the same day, if the deadline is the same day, you then turn to the amount of time it is going to take. If today is Friday and I need to submit everything on Wednesday, then how, which assignment is going to take more time, which assignment is going to take less time, and that is how I schedule. So you break your assignments in, when we talk about breaking down your tasks, and then you schedule your assignments according to the timeline you have. Having timelines and plans is the most important thing, especially in a situation like this, to tackle any problem. Next is, how can I speak to and help someone with a mental health problem like depression or anxiety? Yes, so that is something that is a topic that can be a presentation, or actually a whole training session, honestly, in its own way, where you actually get to learn how to help somebody. But one or two things that I could leave you with, and you can probably write an email to me and we can have a discussion about this. But listen and be empathetic towards a person. Empathy and listening, active listening, are two of the most important aspects of trying to help somebody. And it's not always that you need to give them a solution, but do this, do that. Sometimes just listening, understanding what their situation is, and being empathetic towards them is also helping that person to cope up with their problems. I myself have an initiative on Instagram called Share Mental Health, and if you might like, you could also follow that. So the whole idea of that page is just sharing, because what happens is we tend to not share, we know, because there is nobody to listen. So that's why a lot of such social media initiatives have come, where people just hear each other out, so that they feel better. So there are many other ways. We can probably get on an individual chat here for that, or we could have another session for that. But as far as this is concerned, listening and empathy are two most important things. Self talk, yes, ma'am. Every time self talk always works. Positive self talk, if I may say. Okay. Sometimes keeping oneself busy and a bit stressed keeps us well, but once the stress is off, you get a bad headache. Why does it happen? Why is it that some of us feel so that's very important, because that is something that has happened to all of us. We have actually, because of being in a lockdown in the initial months, we did not have a schedule. So what happens is, being busy uh, keeps us away from all the thoughts of because all the thoughts of being not being productive, or not working, or not being able to work efficiently, or these thoughts are negative thoughts in one's minds. So when we are busy, when we are working, we are away from all these thoughts, because we feel that we have done something constructive. That's what our mind tells us. But if we start programming our mind in a sense that, okay, even if I didn't do anything today, all I did was relax, and all I did was take care of myself, that is also a task. That is also something that I could feel productive with. Giving yourself a break, relaxing, is also a productive task. So to try and make that balance between self care and between your work related activities might help you feel better when you don't have a schedule. And also, when you don't have a schedule, I feel, make a schedule, because that is one of the most important things. Even if it is, okay, I will get up, I will do this, then I will probably read a book, read more things about what is related to my work, or related to the subject that I am studying. Read more about it, create your own work in case you don't have a lot of work. I feel that also helps. Okay. Okay, is there any way out to feel calm when the other people around you are irritating you one way or the other? So this is a great thing that I read in a book, that there are three things that happen when we have a problem. Three characters. One is the environment, which is your whole surroundings, which you can't really control. Okay, because that's a mega or a macro character. Second are others. So others, if we could change others, I swear the life of everybody on this planet would be the easiest that it could be. So that is something that's very difficult to do. The third and the most important character in the situation is you, and you are in your own control. So rather than trying to change the environment and trying to make others understand what is the problem, and trying to change them, it is better to adopt strategies and tasks that can help yourself in probably distracting yourself from those people, ignoring them, or just trying to coexist with them even when they are being irritable towards you. Because there is no problem in you moving out of a situation or ignoring them if they irritate you, because the first two characters in our story, the environment and the others, might be very difficult to change, but yourself is something that's always in your control. um I think we have a couple more. Yeah. It is so difficult to maintain work life balance. Oh, okay, thank you. uh I think, okay, so we have the last question. Not being productive puts you in guilt. You're unable to work even when I think of working because of burnout. It is difficult to go off screen as there is always FOMO, and this has been a cycle. Is there any other way out? So, Bhavna, that is what we mean by breaking the cycle. I understand this, because the guilt that comes in, with, okay, I was not able to work, or oh my god, did I miss something? So these things are thoughts that will always keep protruding your mind. So why don't you try actually putting all these things, all the thoughts that are coming into your mind, be it FOMO, be it having a burnout, or all these things on the left side of a panel, and try writing it out. I believe in writing, because while we just keep talking to ourselves, it somewhere gets lost in our memory. Write those things down. Write the opposite of what you've just written in that message, all the positive things, that no, I don't feel guilty, I am a human, I am free to relax, I am free to if I finished a certain amount of my work that was in the deadline, I am actually deserving of a break. If not that, and even if I've not been able to fulfill my deadline, I will make sure I do it tomorrow. But to put yourself in guilt, you know is not the best way forward. I will not feel guilty, and let me tell you, it is not something that I am that others are doing to me. We need to remember that these thoughts are coming from within. These thoughts are of our own mind. These thoughts are not somebody who's actually coming and putting an injection in our head. We are letting other thoughts, other people, social media, and everything affect ourselves. The power remains in us, and we need to understand how to break that thought. So keep telling yourself that, and keep writing it down, keep reading it, and try. And even if the thought is come, oh my god, I'm feeling guilty, no, have that overpowering thought. So I just like to leave, so, and thank you for that question, Bhavna. I'll just leave it with that. All of us have, and I feel most of us will agree, have this two voices in our head, in the sense that one voice is telling us, oh my god, everything is going wrong, you have to work, why can't you work, why are you sitting idle, there is so much work that you need to do. And there is that small feeble voice in our head which is actually saying, it's okay, you deserve a break, you have body ache, you're feeling burnt out, you need a break. So that it's our duty as a human and as a person to actually strengthen that small feeble voice, to be as equal, if not more, than the one that's telling us that we are in guilt. So giving that voice the power to say, no, if I am feeling that I'm burnt out, I will not work. Because if right now during burnout I'm going to work more, I am going to harm myself more than anything else. So keeping that thought in mind, and probably the strategies that we've talked about, if we try and incorporate some of them, I feel that we will be able to go miles ahead. And again, if somebody has a problem that's not going away, I will always tell to seek professional help, because that helps the best in such matters. So yes, I think we are done with the questions, ma'am.